So this video, the point is to show people, especially young people, especially young men, how they can stop being depressed and use that depression or anxiety when it shows itself instead of having it use them. So the first concept that you've got to understand is that depression and anxiety are not simply a disease. They're not just something that randomly happens. It is not random that you have depression or that you have anxiety. It is there and it's there for a purpose. So you can view the human body from a materialistic perspective and a scientific perspective, and you can come to even the same conclusion that there is a reason for your emotions. And you can imagine depression and anxiety as a marker or as a sign. It's almost like someone's ringing a bell and saying there's something wrong in your life and you need to fix it now. And that's the purpose of depression and anxiety. So it's not random. The second thing is that you can fix it yourself, technically yourself. Really, it's with Jesus, it's with God, but with no other human beings around. Now, ideally, you have another human being that's helping you solve this problem, but really, you could fix this by yourself over the course of a few weeks. The solution to depression, specifically, um, is that you need to set an aim. You need to have a goal in your life. This is the one thing that I think when I used to watch self-improvement videos and I used to be a self-improvement YouTuber and not a Christian self-improvement YouTuber, this is one of the things that I had right and that many other people that I was listening to online had right. And that's the idea of a purpose. I watched this guy, Hamza Hamid, and although I've grown to disagree with him on many things, he does drive home the point, or at least he used to, that you need a purpose. You need something that you're aiming at. You need goals, and you need to take action towards those goals. In his own words, he would often end his videos with "do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it." And it's a great motto, and especially for people who are depressed. Because if you're depressed, you probably do not want to take the actions towards a goal. And so that quote is more important to you than maybe to someone else who isn't as depressed. Now you can imagine depression and anxiety as two almost completely different things. Depression is really about the past, and anxiety is really about the future. So, the past, what do you do with that? The past is actually quite useful, and you don't want to ignore it. You actually want to take a deep dive into the past stories of your life. So if a event that happened over 18 months ago still produces emotion when you think about it or when you repeat that action, then that's a calling to you to say you have not fully analyzed this story. And the reason it's revealing itself to you is because it's saying you need to look at this story so that you do not make the same stupid mistake again. And that's actually quite useful. A way that you can view all of this simply is the bad things that are happening to you that are related to your mind are not necessarily bad things that should be ignored and even gotten rid of. There are things that need to be attended to, or there are things that need to be attended to, and they're callings for you to change something in your life. Back to the story. You need to analyze these past stories that bring up emotion, and you need to get the lesson from the story. And that can either be what you did right or more often what you did wrong. And when you analyze the story it's like the story goes away and there's just the moral lesson there. When you try to think about the story, it's almost impossible. It's difficult to actually think about the story anymore. You just think about the moral lesson. Now, the future, this one is more complicated, but you need to use the past to figure out what you're going to do in the future. And so, people who have anxiety about the future have anxiety about the future because they think that they lack competence and or that they cannot necessarily control the future, but that they cannot control it to the degree to which humans can control their own future. So both of these are callings that you need to change something in your life, and more specifically that you need to become more competent or you need to stop doing something that's hurting you. And it's a very useful thing that your body tells you to stop doing something in the form of a story lingering in your unconscious, because your brain is really good at telling you to do stuff that's going to make sure that you're not going to die, or at least that humanity is not going to die. And you need to listen to that calling, attend to it, take action, and your life is going to improve dramatically because of it.